Hello again. I've been anxious to start this book, Miracles and Moments of Grace, Inspiring Stories from Military Chaplains. I thought this would be good. Um, so chapter 1. Chapter 1 is Don't Go In There. It's written by Chaplain James Blount, Major, U.S. Army. The morning of November 4th, 2002, I woke up in my pod in Kosovo. I was coming to the end of a 6-month tour attached to the 1st Infantry Division that had been deployed with the multinational brigade East Peace Support Operation. Getting out of bed, I prepared to do physical training, PT, outside on my own. The morning was chilly, cold really, so I dressed in my full PT outfit, long pants, long sleeves, jacket, and cap. I had barely made it out the door when I heard a commotion, and I saw a soldier running toward me. He was agitated and shouting. He got up so close to me he was practically bumping me, and screaming so loudly he was almost incoherent. It took me a second, and then I understood him. "Chaplain, Chaplain," he shouted. "There's a guy firing a weapon in the room." I looked up and saw soldiers streaming out of their barracks, running in all directions. Everyone was yelling, "He's firing! He's shooting through the walls!" Without even thinking, I started off in the direction of the shots. As I walked, a soldier running past me yelled, "Don't go in there!" All around me, I heard soldiers saying the same thing. Behind me, a voice having some authority warned me not to go any closer. A senior ranking officer, I guess, but I didn't turn around to look. I couldn't tell you why I didn't stop. I just kept walking in an even pace until I got to the steps of the barracks. The firing had stopped by now, although it was still pandemonium all around. Even so, I could hear a voice from inside the building. "You'd better not come in here," the voice warned. 2 times I heard it. It was the soldier with the gun. What did I do? After a second or two, I started up the steps. Like before, I didn't hesitate. I had no feeling of fear. To this day, I can't explain why I didn't turn around. I was thinking. I was only reacting. I wasn't in control of my actions right then. I believe God was. When I walked through the door, I saw the soldier standing in front of me, some ways into the building. I didn't know him. He was a new guy. He was in full combat gear, flak jacket, helmet, body armor. He looked like he was going into combat. He was fully armed with rounds, and he was aiming his M16 straight at me. The soldier began walking quickly toward me. He flicked the safety off. Then, that's when the fear hit. I was terrified. I had done a tour in Iraq, but as a chaplain, I'd never been directly targeted. As the soldier got closer to me, I detected a change in his face, the tiniest bit of softening. He probably saw the terror in my face and knew I was the chaplain. I was one of the oldest people in the unit, so I was pretty recognizable. I'd been in the civilian world a long time. My calling card was a duffel bag full of candy that I used to share with people. He probably realized I wasn't a threat. Even so, he kept coming at me, weapon aimed, finger on the trigger. Within milliseconds, he was right in front of me, the rifle only a foot from my chest. We stared at each other. Later, it struck me that I stood there with my arms straight at my sides. I didn't even know enough to put my hands up to surrender. We didn't say anything for the longest time. Then the soldier spoke. "I told you not to come in here," he said. Though his face had softened, he still had a hard look in his eyes. "I know," I answered, "but I came in here to talk to you." And talk we did. This soldier was deeply troubled. He had left the Marines recently and had come back into the Army. He may have been forced out of the Marines. He felt like he hadn't been treated well by his fellow soldiers, that they had been giving him a hard time because he had come from the Marines. He felt like a failure, and he let it all come spilling out. For an hour we stood right where we were. As he vented, the soldier never lowered his gun. It was pointed at me the whole time. Finally, we moved further into the room. I don't remember who suggested it. I sat down on a bunk and he sat on a chair. The gun crossed his lap. While we talked, it was clear to me that the soldier was suicidal. I believe he wanted to end his life, to put an end to the pain. Either he wanted to kill himself or he wanted to force someone to kill him. Firing his weapon into the walls was his way of getting the other guys out of the barracks, but everyone had left their weapons and ammunition behind. This guy was fully loaded. He could take a lot of guys down with him. He could take me down with him. Hours went by. The whole time we talked, we were aware of movement outside. I never saw anyone clearly, even though the back door of the barracks was open. Through the door we saw fast-moving shadows. I thought maybe a unit had been brought in, but I couldn't tell for sure. Eventually we heard people running on top of the building. It was a prefab metal structure, so we could hear it clearly. We both knew we were surrounded. Although he kept talking, I sensed that the soldier still wanted someone to take the decision of life or death out of his hands. At one point, he decided he was going to go out and engage the soldiers, that he was basically going to commit suicide and take out as many people as he could. I said to him, "If you go out, I'm going to walk out there with you." I think he began to see how much I cared about him. He backed down. Still, he remained in combat mode, looking around stealthily, ready to make a move. He got up periodically, checking the sides of the building, making precise moves. His combat training was obvious. Periodically, we heard voices outside, repeating the same sentence over and over again. "He needs to come out with no weapons. He needs to come out with no weapons." Although we didn't know it then, word had come down that time was running out, that the standoff had gone on long enough. The guys outside were getting edgy. They were preparing to strike. While the soldier talked, I listened, but I also had a frantic conversation going on in my head. How am I going to talk this guy down? Should I tackle him? Should I take his weapon? I hadn't had any training in negotiating at all, none whatsoever. In the end, I didn't make a move of any sort. I believe the Lord kept me from escalating the danger of the situation. The soldier talked on and on. After about 5 hours, he seemed to run out of steam. He turned his focus on me, not in anger, but in a kind of sympathy. "You look terrible, Chaplain. You're afraid. Look, you're shaking." He said, "You're tired of being here, aren't you?" And incredibly, he started to laugh. It was then that I realized the soldier probably wasn't going to kill me. I suggested to him that it might be a good time for us to pray. "Yes, I want to pray," the soldier said. I believe now that prayer broke the crisis. I've never had anything bad come from prayer. I prayed, that he prayed, then I prayed some more. It sounded to me like he had some background in faith. After we finished, I suggested that we leave the building. He started to agree when he stopped himself. "Wait," the soldier said. "I'm hungry." With that, he reached into his jacket and pulled out a chocolate muffin. He was getting ready to take a bite, but he paused and looked over at me. He broke the muffin apart and handed half to me. "Here," he said, "you have a piece." I don't know what it was about the muffin, but at the moment I resolved that I was going to get this soldier out of there alive. I made up my mind then that nobody was going to shoot anybody. "Let's just walk out here," I said. Then I asked if I could say one more prayer. After I had finished, he stood up, leaving his weapon on the chair. He said, "Come here, Chaplain," and he patted me on the shoulder. He took off his combat gear, all his rounds, and gave everything to me. Finally, he handed over his gun. "Buddy," he said, "I'm tired too. Are you ready to go?" "Yes," I said, "I'm ready to go." It was just 200 yards to the medical clinic down a dirt road, so I suggested that where we should head. I offered to go out first, and he agreed. When we emerged from the building, we had the sense of people moving away from the building. As before, we could only see moving shadows. But then the soldier said to me, "Look to the right, Chaplain. Look to the left." I did. All around us, snipers were in position. They were everywhere. They were still at the ready. The medical people came out of the clinic and started walking toward us. I sensed people following behind us, one person so close I probably could have touched him with a finger. Without even looking behind me, I handed back the soldier's gear and his weapon and his ammo. The crisis was over. The medical director escorted the soldier into the clinic, and I was released into the care of my brigade chaplain. "We need to talk," he said. On July 14th, 2004, I received a soldier's medal for my actions of that day. I was honored for risking my own life to save the lives of others from a homicidal soldier, for displaying personal bravery and peacefully resolving a potentially tragic situation. After the incident, a commander from another unit said, "Chaplain, you're done. You don't have to do anything there with your country. For your country. You have made your contribution. Just be happy and enjoy your life." But do you know what? I don't feel like a hero. In fact, after the incident, I spent hours with my brigade chaplain and another chaplain crying like a baby. I felt an overwhelming sense of my own failings toward my wife and my kids, sinfulness in my own personal life. I felt a deep conviction that I needed to repent and ask forgiveness. The chaplains put their arms around me while I grieved, and they prayed with me. I later heard that the soldier was getting the help he needed, and I believe in my heart that today he is doing fine. Looking back, though, I believe God allowed me to walk into the situation, not just for the sake of that soldier, but for myself as well. After that incident, I felt closer to God than I ever have in my entire life. The real hero that day was God. Oh boy, I've got chills. Ooh. This is from Chaplain James Blount, who is a Southern Baptist Army chaplain assigned through the North American Mission Board. He had worked with the Foreign Mission Board in Conakry, Guinea, and served as a pastor. He was deployed to Iraq in 2004. He and his wife, Marcia, have 4 grown children and 1 grandson, who's Cameron. Wow. That was a great story. Oh my goodness, I got chills. Oh my goodness, wow. Wow, do you mind if we stay with this book for a while? This is really good. I like it. Just a great story. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you so much. See you next time.